Good evening, everybody. So today, first we will discuss something about the ongoing crisis, that is economic crisis going on Sri Lanka, and later on, as usual, we will discuss the 10 most important current affair topics that is in currently news from today's edition. So first, let's know something brief about the what is happening in Sri Lanka actually due to the economic crisis. Actually, the current Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, who is working now, yesterday he has resigned from his post, Mr. Mahindra Rajapaksa, and the president of the island nation Sri Lanka is Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa. So now come to the discussion. Actually, Sri Lanka is the island nation which is present in the southern side of India, as all of us know, and the capital of Sri Lanka now changes from Colombo to, that is, Jayawardhanapura. Actually, the problem that faced by Sri Lanka is a multifaceted. Due to various reasons, Sri Lanka is facing this problem. We will discuss one by one according to some issues. First, Sri Lanka is facing an economic crisis with long waits in front of the petrol stations, steep rise in price of essential commodities, and frequent blackout. So there is a steep rise in the price of essential commodities in Sri Lanka. Just like in some few days, we have a news in the Hindu that the price of 1 liter of milk in Sri Lanka is nearly about 1500, that is 1500 rupees per liter. Such a rate of inflation is very high. In order to understand this concept, first we have to know what is an inflation and how it is measured and who monitors actually the inflation. Actually, as we have discussed in the first class, there is a central bank in a country in order to monitor the monetary policy of a country. So first we know what is a monetary policy. A monetary policy is a policy that designed by the central bank of a country in order to maintain the repo rate and money flow, that is cash inflow in a economy. So sometimes back there was a term in news called as a circular economy in the Hindu. So circular economy means that the process, just like we uses the circular process in order to recycling the unwanted or stagnant matters. Similarly, in circular economy, you uses different method, that is from the output of one process, we uses for the input of another process. For now, our country is following a linear economy, but the focus is on the circular economy, as said by our finance minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, in this year's budget speech. Okay, so we are not going to detailed discussion about that. We have no, for this discussion, we only to know that what is the meaning of inflation. So inflation actually the rate of increase of a sudden abrupt increase in the price of a commodity, that is the due to the absence of that commodity, or due to the absence of a currency in that economic system. Actually, let's say there is availability of 5 kg mangoes in the market. Okay, so the person have lots of cash flow in the country, so that the price of that mango will increase simultaneously. If the mango is 1 kg in present in the market, so the price of the mango will be increased. In this process, the inflation actually increases. But the problem in Sri Lanka is actually the inflation is increasing due to the problem that there is no foreign reserve ratio in Sri Lanka, and due to the lack of foreign reserve ratio in Sri Lanka, so their export and import business is nearly in Bhagyo situation actually. In So this, due to this buggy situation, the cash inflow actually from the outside country, that is the foreign reserve ratio, is decreasing day by day. Due to the decrease in foreign reserve ratio, they are totally dependent on the indigenous product, which is not a Shivkunar, which is not a satisfactory present in the Sri Lankan context. So it is creating a more problem for their economic growth or development and fulfilling their needs of their citizens. So actually we'll discuss it in details. Sri Lanka is those of the worst economic crisis it has seen in decades. So in these past decades, the economic crisis has gone through Sri Lanka, but this is the most distress and a disastrous economic crisis or devastating economic crisis is going through in Sri Lanka, collapsing under the weight of the debt. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, actually a crisis of trade imbalance, that is the fundamental of the Sri Lanka economy has always had a serious issue. That is a case of trade imbalance. So what do you mean by trade imbalance actually? The trade imbalance actually, the imbalance in the import and export of a country. If we are exporting less and importing more, that is the trade imbalance, and in this process we are spending more money and we are less on self-reliant process. So debt, both domestic and foreign, has been a major problem for the Sri Lanka. In February 2020, hardly a few months after Gotabaya Rajapaksa assumed the office as the president during his visit to New Delhi, wanted India to reschedule the loan. Actually, India has already given many loans and support money to the Sri Lankan government. But actually, the crisis is sublime that it is very high. It is in a very disastrous situation that Sri Lanka needs a proper agenda and a plan in order to overcome this type of problem. Actually, over the last 3 months, India has provided assistance of USA 2.54 billion, including a US 500 billion loans deferment as, and this is our actual data, and loan up to the 1 billion credit line to enable the supply of essential commodities, actually to the supply of essential commodity to the inflation hit Sri Lanka. Actually, what happening in Sri Lanka, actually the actual cause will in details. Sir. Phone. Okay, so now we will further proceed what is happening actually in Sri Lanka, the rest main cause. The island's foreign reserve has took its bottom with the, okay, actually the problem is there, the island foreign reserve has took to hit rock bottom. Actually it is a decline, is down to a very large amount of debt due to the commercial banks unable to secure dollars to final imports of food, fuel and medicines. Actually, the commercial banks present in Sri Lanka, just like our commercial banks present in India, that is known as scheduled commercial banks are there, non-scheduled commercial banks are there. We will discuss in detail when we will take class regarding the banking classification. Actually, what is cooperative bank, what is non-cooperative bank, what is scheduled commercial bank, what is non-scheduled commercial bank. All these things we will discuss in later. Actually, so actually they are not fulfilling or they are not able to achieve this the Sri Lanka's financial aid at the financial need. Second point is Sri Lanka was a deep economic crisis when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Actually, the COVID-19 pandemic has a more or less, more or less, that has hit to every country in their economic growth. So India has suffered many economic loopholes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, the Sri Lanka has gone through the similar distress process. Actually, the problem is that reducing foreign workers' remittance and crippling the lucrative tourism sector. Actually, as all of us know that Sri Lanka is known for its tourism sector. So lots of visitors visit Sri Lanka in every year in order to have their natural beauty and scenery of Sri Lanka. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown and shutdown rules, no one is visiting Sri Lanka, or very less people are visiting Sri Lanka due to this type of constraints. So this problem has persisting a lot, and the foreign reserve ratio is declining very abruptly. Now comes to the third point, that is the creating a problem. The third point is that the government imposed a broad import ban in March 2020 to save foreign currency. Actually, they are indulging themselves in banning their imports from other countries, so that in order to increase or store their foreign reserve ratio. The shortage pushed food price up to 25% last month, with overall 17.5%, a fifth consecutive monthly record high. So due to the increase in, there is a curtail in the import of foreign from equipments or essential commodities from the foreign, so they are totally rely on their production. So the amount of production that is happening in Sri Lanka is not adequate in order to fulfill the need of their people. So due to this, the price increases because there are lots of consumers are there, but the essential commodities is not available in that much amount. So due to persisting of this problem, they are shortage pushed food price of increasing up to 25% last month, and in fifth consecutive term it is increased up to 17.55%. Sri Lanka is also facing 5-hour rolling electricity blackouts as thermal 1 minute. Due to the problem that Sri Lanka is also facing 5-hour rolling electricity blackouts as thermal generators have not run out of fuel. Actually, you just imagine what is the problem actually happening in Sri Lanka. How much disastrous situation is going, or devastating situation is happening in Sri Lanka, that they have suffering a 5 hours of power cut in their country because there is no adequate amount of fuel in order to run the thermal generators actually. So this situation is very critical in Sri Lanka. 3 international rating agencies have downgraded the Iceland nation since last year on fears it may be not be able to service its 51 US dollar billion sovereign debt. So it may not be able to fulfill or comply to the need of that the debt that has already been for the country. Okay, the International Monetary Fund, when we will discuss about the international organization, we will in detail discuss about the International Monetary Fund. Now, know that it is an international organization, pointed out that the country's debt overhang along with the persistent fiscal and imbalance of payment shortfalls will constrain growth and jeopardize, means make the situation very critical macroeconomic stability in both and near and medium term. So it is going to very disastrous for Sri Lanka. Actually, India has added many things to Sri Lanka during this economic crisis as their neighbor. Recently, India and Sri Lanka agreed a 4-pronged approach to discuss initiative on food and energy security in order to help mitigate Sri Lanka's economic crisis. Actually, due to the persisting Sri Lanka's economy amid this economic crisis, India has extended her hand in order to help Sri Lanka. Earlier 2021, Sri Lanka declared an economic emergency amid rising of food prices, a depreciating currency and rapidly depleting forex reserves actually. So these are the problems that are majorly persisting in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is going through a very disastrous situation. Next point is the government ban on chemical fertilizer. This is the most important point. One of the most important point we must have to highlight here. That the government ban on chemical fertilizers last April, as it looked to become the first country to fully adopt organic farming, backfired. Okay, actually, the problem is that they have not a proper agenda or proper vision in order to fulfill this condition, that is the first country to fully adopt organic farming, but without or apart from without the proper agenda or proper planning that we will become the fully adopted organic farming country. They are adopted, they are just ban the import of chemical fertilizers. So their farmers also suffering in order to produce necessary amount of pulses, cereals, all these products that are necessary for the country in order to survive actually. A survey showed that 90% of Sri Lanka's farmers used chemical fertilizer for cultivation. So since 90% of Sri Lanka's farmers dependent on or rely on chemical fertilizer, since the government has banned the use of chemical fertilizer, so it is problem creating a very severe problem or food crisis, because the production is declining and the production is declining, and the Sri Lanka has banned imports for essential commodities, fertilizers from the outside countries in order to preserve their foreign currency. So it is going to a very severe crisis. The move led to a drastic drop in domestic food production, pushing up food prices. Since the production is declining, so obviously the demand of the food will be increases, and since the demand of the food increases and the production is low, so there is a food crisis in Sri Lanka occurring. Food inflation soared to 25.7% in February. The crisis is now starting to impact Indian exporters also. Thousands of containers sent to India from Sri Lanka. So this is the problem actually happening in Sri Lanka. Next point is 60% of India's transshipment cargo is handled by the port India linked cargo in on account of 70% of the port's total transshipment volume. Okay. So actually Tamil Nadu, it is present near to the Procon, that is it is proximity to that of the Sri Lanka. It is also impacting the crisis actually. Tamil Nadu has already started feeling the impact of the crisis with the reported arrival of 16% from Sri Lanka, include 6 women and 7 children through illegal means. So since there is a problem in Sri Lanka, so they are trying to migrate to India. So they are migrating to their nearest place in India, that is Tamil Nadu coast. So they are immigrant at Tamil Nadu coast at 16%, that is 6 women and 7 children. Tamil Nadu was home to nearly 3 lakhs refugees after the anti-Tamil program of 1983. That Tamil Nadu problem, the people are from immigrating to Tamil Nadu from Sri Lanka. Okay. But experts say, what is the experts' view in this particular situation? Some experts believe Sri Lanka should restructure its debt and establish a 3-year repayment structure. Actually, they are giving suggestion that Sri Lanka should restructure, make a revamp in their monetary policy and establish not a single year plan. They cannot repay it in a single year. So they should adopt a 3 years plan in order to repayment of their debt. Doing so would save precious dollars and lessen that the burden on Sri Lanka citizens who are facing shortages of imported goods such as milk powder, gas and fuel. So just imagine, the crisis is so much high that the Sri Lankan normal citizens are facing a lot of problems for their essential daily commodities like milk powder, gas and fuel. These are the necessary things for their day-to-day activities actually. Sri Lanka is unreasonably committed to repaying its debt. It is more prudent to press pause on debt payment and take care of critical economic need. So this is a very valuable suggestion that in a proper way, proper strategy must be managed in order to pay the money, not in a horrible way or not a very hurry to pay the money. Rather, they should focus on the stabilizing their internal problem and also paying the debt, so that it will be a balance between their currency exchange and also maintaining their internal expenditure. The country also needs around US 20 billion for essential imports such as fuel, food, and intermediate goods and exports. Reserves have been at a critical level for months, but grew to US 3.1 million at the end of December, boosted by a US 1.5 billion yuan currency swap for China. So now the conclusion is that the crisis should used to be as an opportunity. Actually, there are several crises. In economic crisis happened in India in 1991. That is LPG liberalization, privatization, and globalization at the end. Narasimha Rao committee at that particular instant of time. We will discuss all these things. We will gradually when we will discuss about the economy and also in geopolitical strategies. All these things we will discuss one by one. But for now, this much information or knowledge is sufficient regarding this particular subject actually. And Colombo to thrash out the solution in the Pok Bay, that is a bay you must presently you know that there is a bay that joins India and Sri Lanka is a Pok Bay. It is a narrow region. It is a geographical term. You must have aware about this. If you are not aware about this, we will take a separate class regarding the geography. A long-standing irritant in bilateral ties. There is a need of step up our people-centric development activities. So people must be pro-people activities in order to develop among the people. They scrupulously means very carefully staying clear of the interference of Colombo's domestic affairs, nurturing the neighborhood first policy. So it is a policy that followed by India, that is neighborhood first policy. Sri Lanka is importing for India to preserve its strategic interest in the Indian Ocean region. Actually, in the Indian Ocean region, there are a lot of happenings actually occurring. So in this process regarding, so we are following our neighbors first policy. As we are following our neighbors first policy, we must hand to join our hand in their crisis situation in our neighborhood country. So this is the information about the problems happening in Sri Lanka and their possible mitigation strategy Sri Lanka must apply in order to execute or become helpful. Okay, so this much information. Now we will go to our daily monthly current affair discussion of 10 questions. Okay. So we will go to our daily discussion. So the first question is for today is that which country launched affordable connectivity program on internet connection to lower income household? Actually, the question is that which country has launched this program? So the answer to this question is that is answer to the question is D. That is USA. That is United States of America has launched an affordable connectivity program on internet connection to lower income households. Actually, in this program is launched in order to provide high speed internet to the normal households. So it will benefit around 48 millions of normal householders, and it is under the project of 1 trillion infrastructure project. Okay, so it is launched by the United States of America. So next question, which is the first state in the country to offer breakfast in government schools? So the question is that which of the Indian state become the first state to, we know that the midday meal scheme that was implemented by the government and it is offered to almost all the state in India. But it is a breakfast scheme that was implemented by which state? The options here are Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and West Bengal. And the answer to this question is B. So Tamil Nadu became the first state in the country to offer breakfast in government schools. And regarding more information regarding the Tamil Nadu is there. The Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu is Mr. M.K. Stalin, and this is provided to children, in the class 1 to 5 in order to provide, in order to combat with the malnourishment children. Okay. So in this context, we have some other information regarding Chandigarh. Actually, Chandigarh, that is a union territory that banned use of poster banners without prior permission. So Chandigarh banned the use of poster banners without its prior permission. So it is no. So there is a ban on illegal use of posters and banners in Chandigarh. So Uttarakhand actually, in order to, we know that some schemes has been launched by different states in this particular context. That is, Uttarakhand has launched an anti-corruption app, that is anti-corruption 1064, in order to combat or fight with anti-corruption. And in this regard, another information, that is India's first water tank taxi service. So in which state India's first water taxi service is inaugurated? So India's first water taxi service is inaugurated in the state of Maharashtra. It connects from Mumbai to that of Navi Mumbai. The next question is, which is the first Indian company to cross USD 100 billion annual revenue actually? So which is the first company of India to cross 100 USD billion in annual revenue? So the options are Adani Group, Reliance, Tata, and Future Group. And the answer to this question is Reliance Group by Mukesh Ambani. It has a turnover around 102 billion in the year 2021-22. So it will become the first Indian company. Remember this answer. This is very important. And the Shivkunar Sharma, who passed away recently, is famous for. Okay, so Shivkunar Sharma, which passed away recently, is famous for which? In which field actually? It is Bansuri, Santur, Sitar, or Sarangi. Actually, he is famous for. The answer to this question is B, Santur. So Mr. Shivkumar Sharma is famous for Santur. And extra information regarding Mr. Shivkumar Sharma is he was a Padma Shri awardee in the year 1991, and later he was awarded with Padma Vibhushan in the year 2001. So the next question is, Rpmain Polland award is given for translating from which language to Indian or English language? Actually, the answer to this question is B, that is French. From French language to Indian language, or that of your English language. Okay. So next question is, how many Indians have been awarded the Pulitzer Prize? So how many Indians have awarded the Pulitzer Prize? And the options are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the answer to this question is 4 Indians are awarded with the Pulitzer Prize. Sir, which is the venue of the JITO Conference 2022? That is a very important concept. You must have aware about this question. That is, which is the venue of the JITO Conference 2022? The options are Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, or Varanasi. So the answer to this question is which? Answer to this question is C. That is, Pune is the host of the JITO Conference 2022. World Lupus Day is observed on which May? So World Lupus Day is observed on 10th May. So it is a disease. In this disease, actually, the brief information regarding lupus disease is that it does not differentiate between the foreign pathogens and the cells present inside the body. So in the when this disease occurs in a human being, so the antibody kills the cells present inside the body. So it is a very disastrous disease for human being. In this context, we will have a brief information regarding World Red Cross Day. It is observed in 8th May, and the theme of this year's World Red Cross Day is Be Humankind. So the 9th question is, it's very important, you must have to hear about this question. First pure green hydrogen plant is established in which state? The options are Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Assam and Tripura. So it is implemented in which state? And the answer to this question is C, Assam. Okay. It is implemented in Assam. And the answer to the last question of the day is Semicon India Conference 2022 would be at which place? And the Semicon India Conference 2022 will be held at, answer to this question is Bangalore. Which is D. Semicon India Conference will be held at Bangalore. This is the information regarding today, and we must have aware about all these things and meet tomorrow at the same time in order to discuss tomorrow's most important current affairs and a particular topic that is seen in news. Thank you.